Travel alert, using the road, you travel southeast, taking 10 minutes to arrive, you've returned. Alfreda comments, genuinely happy to see you again. You can stay as long as you wish. GM note, Janet lost 1 gold piece, you provide the compassionate halfling with another gold coin and soon find yourselves within a safe and secure block of rooms. You can sleep here as long as you wish, memorize spells, and otherwise take care of yourselves. Once you leave, however, Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on Ariana, healing her for 3. Kartha casts Cure Light Wounds on Eswin, healing him for 8 hit points. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Wounds are tended, spells are memorized, and your heroes are refreshed and re-energized. Travel alert, returning to the bridge leading to city, you take 10 minutes to arrive, back to the bridge where Voxar originally teleported your party. Nirra commands you forward, keeping to the road heading southeast. About how far to this abandoned mine? Eswin asks, a good question. Just a few hours, Nirra replies, leading the way. It's near the ocean and easy to find. Eswin nods, the way forward relatively easy and safe. Travel alert, using the road, you travel southeast, taking 2 hours to arrive. Following the road southeast to nearly the shore of the island nation, you finally arrive at the abandoned emerald mine, the road itself leading to a large wooden door in the side of a hill. There don't appear to be any guards or sentries here, but Nirra reminds your party that you need to wait until the cover of darkness before entering the mine. GM note, it's dark here. Click the Use Item button to select a source of light, staying just out of sight of the door leading into the mine. You wait until midnight or so, watching the door the entire time. A slight fog rolls in, further obscuring your heroes from any guards who may be watching from within the mine. Let's take a look around before trying the doors, Eswin orders, looking suspiciously about. Ariana uses a glowing skull throughout the entire local area, illuminating everything well. Searching the immediate area, you're a little surprised by the lack of guards, traps, wards or anything. The area definitely appears abandoned. I hope we haven't come all this way for nothing, Ariana worries. Let's find out, Redfern responds, pointing to the large door. As you approach, let's do a party curiosity check to see if any of you notice anything. Needing a 11 or less from your heroes, a 18 was rolled. Failure, sorry, but as you approach the large door, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Nodding to Eswin to proceed, the warrior grabs a small chain hanging down and pulls the mighty door open. Peering within, all you see is pitch darkness. The mine does indeed look abandoned. Stepping through the doors, let's do a trap check and see what happens. This guillotine trap is insidious, Marioleth comments, having found a trap in time to prevent any harm to the party. It's been disabled, no need to worry. There is no reason to trap the entrance to an abandoned mine, Nirra hisses, angered by the surprise. Those wretched man-lovers must be here. Apparently, Eswin responds, disliking the comment as much as the trap itself. Well, need a light source moving forward, Redfern adds, peering beyond. The way clear, you can go either west or east into the mine, or head back to the road leading northwest to EAA. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel east, taking 5 minutes to arrive. An apparent storage room. Dozens of boxes and barrels stand neatly stacked here against the southern wall. Of course, you will need to search the chamber to learn more. GM note, a trap has been detected. Click the Remove Traps button to try and disarm it. Kartha casts find traps throughout the entire local area, and immediately an unseen shallow pit trap is found. Be careful, the trap is a threat to the party and needs to be disarmed. All area objects are examined as well, and immediately an unseen poison needle trap on the small chest is found. Be careful, the trap is a threat to the party and needs to be disarmed. Barthol has a 40% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 38 on percentile dice. Success. The shallow pit trap here is disarmed and will no longer threaten the party. Barthol has a 40% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 53 on percentile dice. Failure. The poison needle trap here on the small chest remains a threat to the party. Marioleth has a 35% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 23 on percentile dice. Success. The poison needle trap on the small chest is disarmed as well and will no longer threaten the party. Taking about 10 minutes to search the area and peer into several of the boxes and barrels, you find a variety of dry goods and other foodstuffs, enough food here to feed a small army for several months. This must be all the rations and supplies being provided by the jeweler back in EAA, Kartha suggests. The jeweler, Sashara I believe, has been helping the rebels here? Nirra asks, surprised. I will need to take care of her too, it appears. Barthol has a 45% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 92 on percentile dice. Failure, the treasure chest remains locked and impassable to the party. Marioleth has a 40% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 18 on percentile dice. Success. The treasure chest is unlocked and now easily opened. Inside, you find 3 emeralds. Janet nods and takes the 3 emeralds. Carefully examining the small chest, you find several raw emerald fragments, likely worth quite a bit. It's payment for the jeweler, Ariana speculates, not surprised by the find. Apparently the mine isn't as dead as everyone thought. That would explain how the rebels were able to hide here for so long, Nirra responds, disappointed. The storage room thoroughly searched. You can either head back down the hallway to the west toward the mine entrance or you can try the door in the hallway leading north further into the mine. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel west, taking 5 minutes to arrive, the way clear, you can go either west or east into. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel west, taking a few minutes to arrive, you've reached the far southwestern corner of 2 adjoined tunnels, one leading south to north and the other leading west to east back toward the mine entrance. In the corner here where the 2 tunnels meet is an old cistern well in the floor, a sturdy rope leading down into the abyss below. I suppose they have to drink, Sainairs comments, the first to examine the well and rope in the floor. Without any sort of mechanism to pull any potential water up, Sainairs grabs the rope and simply starts pulling, retrieving a wooden bucket filled with cold water moments later. The water looks clear and refreshing. What would you like to do with it? Choose an option, dump the water, taste the water. To your surprise, the water is clean, healthy, and refreshing, and you instruct your heroes to fill their water skins with as much as they wish. With nothing else more to do here, you can travel north toward an alcove to the west, a closed door opposite the alcove to the east, or you can return to the mine's entrance back to the east. Janet nods and takes the 100 water skins. You spend about a minute searching the area. However, you don't find any secret doors or exits. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel north, taking a few minutes to arrive. You've reached the central area of a tunnel traveling north and south, another smaller perpendicular tunnel leading east and west here as well, a small alcove to the west and a closed door to the east. The western alcove is a natural cavern within the mine and is somewhat lit by a large growth of bioluminescent lichens growing on the ceiling. In the center of the alcove is some sort of tall, mushroom-looking fungus, standing 4 feet in height and purplish in color. As you approach, let's do a party intelligence check to see if you notice anything. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 18 was rolled. Failure, no, nobody in the party notices anything, you're free to continue. Glancing about, there does not look to be all that much to explore here in the alcove. Of course, you'd have to search the tiny chamber to know for sure. From this spot, you can also continue north toward what appears to be a large chasm up ahead, east down another short tunnel that leads to a closed door, or south back to the well in the floor. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel east, taking a few minutes to arrive. As you enter, you get a whiff of something cooking. It appears you've entered a makeshift kitchen. Indeed, you spy 3 men busying themselves around a cooking fire at one end of the chamber, their backs to you and hence unaware of your presence. Looking about, the room appears to have originally served as a forge for making weapons, armor, and shields, as a large hood for venting smoke extends all the way to the ceiling. Of course, it's the 3 middle-aged men cooking an apparent dinner that you're most concerned with here. As the 3 cooks haven't noticed you yet, you've got some options as to how you want to approach them. What would you like to do? Choose an option: charisma, introduce yourselves and talk; dexterity, sneak up and capture them; strength, overpower and defeat them. Electing to try the most peaceful option, your heroes greet the 3 men, surprising them as they turn in your direction. Their instinct is to attack, but quickly they recognize they stand no chance against such a powerful adversary, and so they stand down, demanding to know who you are and why you're here. As your heroes respond, let's do a party charisma check to see how this plays out. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 14 was rolled. Success, your party is able to convince the men that you're not a threat, and so they relax a bit, willing to continue the conversation here. She's the captain of the guard. One of the men whispers to the other 2, suddenly fearful. I hear tell she will hang you just as soon as ask your name. I am not here to hang anyone, Nirra responds, a bit surprised. We just want some answers. The 3 men look to one another, quite nervous. You suspect that you will only get a single question with them. What would you like to ask? Choose an option. Is there a wizard named Lodi's here? Where are all the rebels hiding? Who really firebombed the power tower? GM note, your quest log has been updated. Click the quests button for all the details. The 3 men look to one another, at first unwilling to respond. Nirra holds her weapon to the center man's throat, however, coercing him to speak. Most of them are to the north. But you will never get past the barricade. That's all we will say. Another of the men sneers, nodding his head along with his other 2 pals. Oh, we can make you talk, you disgusting men. Nirra returns, the guard captain ready to knock their skulls in if needed. That's enough. Kartha insists, ordering Nirra to back down. We're not thugs. Let's bind and gag them for now, then continue our search here. Your party in agreement, you tie the men up and gag them so they won't be a threat. The cooks here now bound and gagged, it's time to move on. 2 closed doors provide egress from the chamber, one to the west and one to the east. Barthol has a 45% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 95 on percentile dice. Failure, the cabinet remains. Travel alert, using the unlocked door, you travel east, taking a few moments to arrive. Opening the door into this room just a bit, you can hear varied conversations along with the unmistakable sounds of people eating. Peering beyond, it looks like there are perhaps half a dozen soldiers in here, one woman mixed in with all the men. Because the soldiers are all eating, you've gained the element of surprise. Looking them over, most appear to be fighter types, but you suspect there is at least one cleric and one magic user here as well, so be careful. Time to act. What would you like to try? Choose an option: assault, rush into the room and attack. Bribe, offer 250 gold to ask questions, threaten, attempt to intimidate the diners. The optimism score for Janet remains the same, quite suspicious. The soldiers first look to one another, ready to attack. One of them, a halfling fighter, then agrees, taking your bribe and ordering his soldiers to stand down. Sure, we will answer a few questions, the halfling begins. What do you want to know? Before we say anything, however, the guard captain must promise to stay out of our business. The halfling fighter demands, eyeing Nirra carefully. I will give you some business. Nirra almost shouts, raising her weapon to strike. Agreed. Cartha replies to the halfling, reaching out to force Nirra to lower her weapon again. Now, tell us what we want to know. Go ahead and ask a question of these ruffians, choose an option. Are you part of the rebels from EAA? Do you know a wizard named Lodice? Why are all of you here in the mine? We're mercenaries, if you must know, the cleric here responds, perturbed. An old, irritable wizard named Lodice hired us to rebel against Queen Delpana and, if all had gone well, take her down. You know Lodice? Cartha asks, surprised. He's here? We haven't seen him in over a season now, he's abandoned us, the halfling fighter responds. But he paid us for an entire year in advance, so we're waiting to see if he comes back. Take down the queen? Nirra shouts, escalating the situation. You maintained everything you touch, and what you can't have, you try to take by force. Queen Delpana was right to banish all of you decades ago. Delpana is a sexist fool. The magic user sitting here shouts, her anger growing as well. Women need more than just her precious white roses, men and women can get along. That's treason. The guard captain shouts, readying her weapon. Enough from you. All hell then breaks loose, the soldiers attacking with everything they have. As the battle begins, the halfling fighter jumps upon a nearby table and points toward Nirra. Let's go, Captain. The halfling taunts. I've been wanting to kick your ass for some time. Your party is under attack. Threatening all of you are Devon Shagfoot, one female adept magic user, one adept cleric, one adept thief and 4 adept fighters. It's Muriel Ev's turn. What do you want her to do? Marioleth casts web on roughly half of all encountered combatants, attempting to immobilize them in sticky goo. Adept cleric is held for 5 minutes, needing a 12 or greater. Adept cleric rolls a 6 and fails versus spells. Adept fighter number 1 avoids the attack altogether. Adept fighter number 2 is held for 5 minutes. Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept thief, needing a 15 to hit. Die roll is a 12, needing a 40 or less on percentile dice. A 58 is rolled. Janet casts Spiritual Hammer on Adept Fighter number 4, bashing him for 3 points of damage for 5 minutes. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern casts Fireball on roughly half of all encountered combatants, blasting them in an explosion of flame. Adept Cleric is burned for 29 points of damage, needing a 12 or greater. Kartha casts Spiritual Hammer on Adept Thief, bashing him for 3 points of damage for 5 minutes. Adept Thief has been defeated. Devon Shag, it's Nirra's turn. What do you want her to do? Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 3, needing a Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 3, needing GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at Devon. Redfern casts Phantasmal Force on Devon Shagfoot, horrifying him for 5 points of. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at Devon Shagfoot, needing an 18 to hit. Sainairs directs his Spiritual Hammer at Devon Shagfoot, bashing him for 5 points of damage and leaving him with 24 hit points. It's Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at Devon Shagfoot, needing an 18 to hit. Barthol readies his short sword +1 and swings at Devon Shagfoot. Marioleth casts Magic Missile on Devon Shagfoot, striking him with a magic missile. Janet directs her Spiritual Hammer at Devon Shagfoot. It's Eswin's turn. What do you want him to do? Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at Devon Shagfoot, needing an 18 to hit. Die roll, Sainairs readies his mace +1 and swings at Devon Shagfoot, needing an 18 to hit. Die roll is a 14, +3 to hit. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at Devon Shagfoot, needing an 18 to hit. Die roll is a 16. Kartha directs her Spiritual Hammer at Devon Shagfoot, bashing him for 6 points of damage and defeating him. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 234 experience points. Barthol has gained a new energy level and receives 4 new hit points. The last of the adept soldiers go down, and you quickly tie them up so they can't be any more of a threat to the party. You may have won the battle, Captain. The halfling fighter spits along with some blood, but you won't win the war. Del Pano will be overthrown. Not by the likes of you. Nirra sneers, punching the halfling in the face so hard that he is knocked out. Let's go. At least we've confirmed that the rebels are here, Redfern comments. I am sure there is a lot more of them somewhere here in the mine. GM note, your quest log has been updated. Click the quests button for all the details. With the mercenaries tied up and powerless now, it's time to move on. A closed door to the west is available, as is another closed door to the south. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 9 on percentile dice. Success. The cabinet is unlocked and now easily opened. Inside, you find 8 copper pieces, 1 glowing skull, 1 Eswin nods and takes the glowing skull. Kartha nods and takes everything from within the immediate area. You spend about 5 minutes searching the area. However, you don't find any secret doors or exits. There is nothing hidden here, either. Your party. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel south, taking a few minutes to arrive. The storage room thoroughly searched, GM note, your source of light has just gone out, your party rests and recovers. Ariana uses a glowing skull throughout the entire local area, illuminating everything well. Travel alert, returning to the alcove, you take a half hour to arrive. Glancing about, there does not look to be all that much to explore here in the alcove. Of course, you'd have to search the tiny chamber to know for sure. From this spot, you can also continue north toward what appears to be a large chasm up ahead, east down another short tunnel that leads to a closed door, or south back to the well in the floor. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel north, taking a few minutes to arrive. Reaching the northern end of the tunnel here, you can see that it opens into a massive chasm beyond, its ceiling bathed in light and what appears to be an underground river far below. The good news is that a wooden bridge spans the chasm to the other side about 60 feet away. The bad news is that there appears to be a timber barricade across the middle of the bridge, 4 feet high and well constructed. Further, you see at least 2 armed guards patrolling atop the barricade. Getting past it will be quite the challenge. Taking a few minutes to scout the immediate area and assess the situation, your options appear limited. We could scale down the chasm to the other side, Ariana suggests, looking down to the river below. I could pretend to have captured everyone, Kartha offers. That should create enough confusion to get close enough to attack. Or, we just do a full frontal assault and get it over with. Eswin returns, ready to lead the party directly into battle. Choose an option, scale down the chasm and cross below. Pretend Kartha has captured the party, simply rush forward and attack. All of you march forward in front of me with your hands behind your back, Kartha orders, herself stepping to the rear. I will pretend to be one of the rebels. I've just captured all of you and we will walk straight toward the barricade. When someone comes out to talk, we will surprise them. I am not comfortable with this, Nirra mumbles, going along with the ruse. But it's a good plan. Kartha nods and draws her weapon, the rest of you hiding your own weapons before placing your hands behind your backs as if your hands are tied. Your heroes then bravely walk forward, their heads down as if they were indeed prisoners. Kartha, in turn, seemingly pushes the party from behind, appearing in complete control. The march to the barricade only takes a minute or so. As you approach, several men armed with bows standing atop the barricade watch your every move, unsure of what's going on. Then, a small door leading into the barricade opens and another human fighter steps out, armed with a longsword and quite suspicious. Let's do a party charisma check to see if you can maintain the ruse. Needing a 14 or less from your heroes, a 3 was rolled. Success. Despite the suspicions of the male soldiers here, they haven't attacked, the ruse seems to be working. What do we have here, then? The closest fighter asks of Kartha, but looking at all of you. We captured an entire party, Kartha boasts. We even got the guard captain. A few more men from the barricade join the soldier, suspicious but impressed as well. Let's do another check, this time on Kartha to see if her diplomacy skills can get you past the guards and to the other side of the bridge. Needing a 10 or less from Kartha, a 13 was rolled. Failure. I don't recognize you, one of the guards then says to Kartha, an apparent cleric herself. Prove to us Lodi's hired you. Her diplomacy skills failing her, Kartha falters, exposing your party as the enemies you are. We're under attack. The lead soldier cries out, readying his longsword as all the other guards here prepare their weapons as well. Your party is under attack. Menacing your entire party are 1 female adept cleric and 6 adept fighters. It's Ariana's turn. What do you want her to do? Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 1, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 14. Marioleth casts web on roughly half of all encountered combatants, attempting to immobilize them in sticky goo. Adept Fighter number Janet casts Spiritual Hammer on female Adept Cleric, bashing her for 3 points of damage for 5. Adept Fighter number 4 attacks Ariana with his longsword, needing a 22 to hit. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want? Needing a 45 or less on percentile dice, a 70 is rolled. Failure. Barthal tries to blend it. Kartha casts Spiritual Hammer on female Adept Cleric, bashing her for Redfern casts Fireball on roughly half of all encountered combatants, blasting them in an explosion of flame. Adept Fighter number 1 avoids the attack altogether. Adept Fighter Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 2. Female Adept Cleric casts Hold Person on Barthal, nearly holding him but unsuccessful, needing a 9 or greater. It's Nirra's turn. What do you want him to do? Nirra casts Bless on the entire party, potentially blessing them. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled. With higher values, Ariana readies her short sword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 2, needing a 15 to hit. Die roll is a 12, +6 to hit. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 6. Marioleth casts Magic Missile on female Adept Cleric, striking her with a Janet directs her Spiritual Hammer at female Adept Cleric, bashing her for 1 point of damage and leaving her with 1 hit point. Female Adept Fighter number 6 attacks Ariana with his It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Needing a 45 or less on percentile dice, a 23 is rolled. Nirra casts Remove Fear on Janet, calming her and removing her fear. It's Redfern's turn. Redfern casts Magic Missile on Adept Fighter number 6, striking him with a Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 6. Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at Adept Fighter number 6. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at Adept Fighter number 6, needing a 15 to hit. Kartha directs her Spiritual Hammer at female Adept Cleric, bashing her for 4 points of damage and defeating her. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 185 experience points. The last of the soldiers go down, and your party quickly ties them up and gags them, so they'll no longer be a threat. Making your way through the barricade and toward the far end of the bridge, Nirra alerts you to a new problem. Janet, during the battle, I am pretty sure I saw one of the rebels run away from the barricade, in this direction. He was probably a runner, meant to inform his leadership if the barricade was attacked. So we've lost the element of surprise, Eswin responds, recognizing what Nirra is saying. The guard captain nods. From this point forward, the rebels will know you're coming. Standing at the far northern end of the bridge, a hallway leads further north, a single door to the left at the far end of the tunnel. There is also another hallway leading east about 30 feet ahead. GM alert, Bless is no longer affecting the party. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel north, taking a few minutes to arrive. Opening the door, you find a hollowed out cave beyond containing a wide diversity of weapons, armor, shields and ammunition, an apparent armory. The equipment here does not look all that shoddy, whoever acquired it had a fair amount of coin to spend. Of course, you won't know more unless you search the smaller chamber. Inspecting all the equipment here, you find racks of long and short swords, longbows, spears and daggers. There is also an assorted variety of leather and chain armor, along with some wooden and metallic shields. Finally, you find some small barrels filled with ammunition. These rebels seem well equipped, Nirra begins, frustrated. I need to find out who bankrolled them. Be careful. Barthol warns. A falling stone trap lies before us. Barthol has a 45% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 88 on percentile dice. Failure, the falling stone trap here remains a threat to the party. Marioleth has a 35% chance of disarming traps and rolls a 58 on percentile dice. Failure, the falling stone trap here remains a threat to the party. At first, the barrel containing all the ammunition, arrows, bolts, and stones looks ordinary. Searching it carefully, however, reveals that ammunition at the bottom of the barrel is glowing with a soft blue light. It's magical. Your options within the armory now exhausted, it's time to move on. The hallway beyond can take you down another tunnel heading east to a closed door, or you can follow the hallway south back to the bridge spanning the chasm there. Janet nods and takes the 100 ammunition plus 1. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 28 on percentile dice. Success. The chest is unlocked and now easily opened. Inside, you find 1,000 silver pieces. Redfern nods and takes the 1,000 silver pieces. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 74 on percentile dice. Failure, the lockbox remains. Your heroes bash open the lockbox, destroying the locking mechanism and making its contents available. However, your act of vandalism may have destroyed some of the items hidden away within the lockbox. Janet nods and takes everything from within the immediate area. A quick search finds that the weapon racks have 5 short swords, 4 long swords, 4 short bows, 3 long bows, 1 long sword plus 1, 10 poliarm and 5 daggers. Ariana nods and takes the longsword plus 1. Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on Ariana, healing her for 8 hit points. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Wounds are tended, spells are memorized and your heroes are refreshed and re-energized. Ariana uses a glowing skull throughout the entire local area, illuminating everything well. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel southeast, taking 5 minutes to arrive. Reaching the door here, you find what appears to be a large meeting room, a single long table dominating the southern area of the room with simple wooden chairs surrounding it. A crude map of Ghenland is affixed to the southern wall here as well. Unfortunately, you also discover a half-dozen armed soldiers, clearly waiting for you here in the chamber. Another cleric and magic user stand behind them, as well as a thief, all 3 of them eyeing you warily. Take M down, the magic user cries, ordering the fighters to attack. The cleric and magic user then begin casting spells, while the thief starts to lob glowing green liquid-filled orbs at you. Your party is under attack. About to attack your party are 6 adept fighters, 1 female adept cleric, 1 female adept magic user and 1 adept lobber thief. It's Mirielev's turn. What do you want her to do? Mirieleth casts web on roughly half of all encountered combatants, attempting to immobilize them in sticky goo. Adept fighter number 1 avoids the adept fighter number 6 attacks Oriana with his longsword. It's Nirra's turn. What do you want him to do? Nirra casts spiritual hammer on adept lobber thief, bashing him for 1 point of damage for 5 minutes. Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 1, needing a 16 to hit. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 1, needing a 16 to hit. It's Oriana's turn. What do you want her to do? Oriana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 2, needing a 45 or less on percentile dice. A 94 is rolled. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 2, needing a 16 to hit. Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at adept fighter number 2. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? GM note: a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at adept fighter number 3, needing a 16 to hit. Oriana readies her longsword +1 and adept lobber thief attacks Eswin with his grenade, needing a 20 to hit. It's Nirra's turn. What do you want him to do? Nirra readies his mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 3, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 5, +3 to hit. Nirra misses adept 5. Nirra directs his spiritual hammer at adept lobber thief. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Needing a 45 or less on percentile dice, a 87 is rolled. Failure. Barthal tries to blend into the shadows, but Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4, needing a 16 to hit. Mirieleth readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4, needing a Redfern readies his quarterstaff +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4. GM note: a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher value. Mirieleth readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 18, +3 to hit. Oriana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 3, needing a 16 to hit. Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at adept fighter number 3. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern readies his quarterstaff +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 3. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Barthal readies his short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 4, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 17, +5 to hit. Nirra directs his spiritual hammer at adept lobber thief, bashing him for 2 points of damage and defeating him. Nirra readies his mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6. GM note: a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled. Oriana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6, needing. Redfern readies his quarterstaff +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6. Barthal readies his short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6. Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6. Mirieleth readies her short sword +1 and swings. It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at adept fighter number 6. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6, needing a 6. Nirra directs his spiritual hammer at adept fighter number 6, bashing him for 3. GM note: a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled, with higher values acting first. Nirra readies his mace +1 and Mirieleth readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6, needing a 45 or less on percentile dice. A 24 is rolled. Success. Sainadius readies his mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 6, needing a 16 to hit. Sainadius directs his spiritual hammer at adept fighter number 6. Janet readies her mace +2 and swings at adept fighter number 5. It's Redfern's turn. What do you want him to do? Redfern leaps forward and engages with female adept magic user in hand-to-hand combat. It's Eswin's turn. Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at female adept magic user. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 18, plus, it's Ariana's turn. What do you want her to do? Ariana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 8, plus, GM note, a new combat round has begun. Ariana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5, needing a 16 to hit. Marioleth readies her short sword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 3, plus 3 to hit. Marioleth misses adept fighter number 5. It's Barthal's turn. What do you want him to do? Barthal readies his short sword +1 and swings at female adept magic user, needing a 12 to hit, +4 due to hiding in shadows. Sainadius readies his mace +1 and swings at female adept magic user, needing a... It's Eswin's turn. What do you want him to do? Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at female adept magic user. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at female adept magic user, needing a 16 to hit. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is roll. Ariana readies her longsword +1 and swings at adept fighter number 5, needing a 16 to hit. Die roll is a 18. Marioleth leaps forward and engages with female adept cleric in hand-to-hand combat. Eswin readies his longsword +1 and swings at female adept cleric, needing a 19 to hit. Nirra readies her longsword +1 and swings at female adept cleric, needing a 19. Barthal readies his short sword +1 and swings at female adept cleric, needing a 19 to hit. Die roll. GM note, a new combat round has begun. Marioleth readies her short sword +1 and swings at female adept cleric. Barthal readies his short sword +1 and swings at female adept cleric, needing a 19 to hit. Die roll is a 20, which is an automatic hit and does double damage. Barthal hits female adept cleric, doing 16 points of damage and defeating her. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 218 experience points. Janet has gained a new energy level and receives 6 new hit points and 1 new spell. Click the spells button to assign the new spell. Sainadius has gained a new energy level and receives 6 new hit points and 1 new spell. Click the spells button to assign the new spell. Your heroes manage to defeat all the soldiers here and you quickly tie them up, so they are no longer any sort of threat. Now, care to explain yourselves? Nirra begins, ready to use further violence here to get the guards to talk if she must. We got nothing to say to you. The thief responds, a low-level male halfling. Moments pass, and you recognize that the guards here don't intend to say anything. What do you try? Choose an option. Diplomacy, tell us and we will let you go. Empathy, we're not here to hurt you. Tolerance, we actually want to help. Tell us who you were guarding, and we will let all of you go, Kartha offers, a genuineness in her voice. While the captured fighters refuse to answer, the thief nervously looks to the cleric and magic user before providing a timid response. They call themselves the Emerald Crown, the thief begins. They were recruited by an old wizard we haven't seen now in over a season. They've escaped back to the barracks to mount their defense, I am sure. Was this old wizard Lodi's? Kartha asks. The thief isn't sure he wants to answer, So let's do a charisma check on Kartha. Needing a 15 or less from Kartha, a 13 was rolled. Success. You know him? The magic user asks, intrigued. He could be rude, even obnoxious, but he had a big heart and we believed in him. You believed that treason was somehow a good thing? Nirra objects. You want to betray our sisters? On the contrary, the magic user softly responds. We want to liberate our sisters and show them that female-led sexism is just as bad as when men do it. About to say something, Nirra notices that all the soldiers here agree and so she just turns away. We answered your questions, the cleric ridicules, not expecting to be set free. You said you'd let us go. Nirra turns to you, her angry sneer communicating her position on the subject. Yet Kartha steps over to the cleric and begins to untie her. Seeing that, Ariana, Redfern and even Sainairs follow suit, untying all the soldiers and setting them free. The rebellion is over, but let us finish what you've started, Kartha tells the cleric. Quite surprised, the soldiers turn and walk away, departing the chamber through the door to the west. The meeting room empty, it's time to move on. You can either take the tunnel to the northeast or go back through the door to the west. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 70 on percentile dice. Failure. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel northeast, taking a few minutes to arrive, another large chamber cut into the stone, this one is smaller than the one you just left. In addition to a bunch of barrels, boxes and crates stored here, you find a diversity of other ordinary objects, this place appears to be a simple storage room. As usual, you'd have to give the room a good search to know more. Spending perhaps 20 minutes to open things and look around, you don't find anything of value or importance. However, you do find a small rug near the southern wall of the chamber, under which is a trapdoor leading down into the darkness. The room a general waste of time, you can go east into another chamber beyond or back southwest to the meeting room. Of course, there is the trapdoor leading down that looks intriguing as well. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 81 on percentile dice. Failure, the door remains locked and impassable to the party. Marioleth has a 40% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 63 on percentile dice. Failure. Eswin uses a skeleton door key on the locked door, unlocking it and allowing access to the area beyond. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 82 on percentile dice. Failure, the chest remains locked and Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 57 on percentile dice. Failure, the trunk remains locked and impassable to the party. Your heroes bash open the chest, destroying the locking mechanism and making its contents available. However, your act of vandalism may have destroyed some of the items hidden away within the Janet nods and takes the 61 rations. Travel alert, using the unlocked door, you travel east, taking a few minutes to arrive. The overpowering smell of chemicals permeates the air here as you enter. In the far northeastern corner, you can see a small laboratory that's been set up. There does not seem to be anything being made right now, but the smell tells you that it's been used recently. Other than several well-packed crates tucked away in the southeastern corner, you don't see anything else here. While you don't find anything of interest or value with the glassware, the crates appear carefully packed with a variety of glass orbs filled with a green, glowing liquid, identical to the ones used against you back in the meeting room. Counting the orbs, there appear to be 10 here altogether. What is this stuff? Eswin demands to know, slightly burned by it a short time ago. Intrigued, Nirra reaches into the topmost crate and retrieves one of the orbs, swishing the oily substance within. Let's do an intelligence check on your hero to see if you recognize the green liquid. Needing a 13 or less from Janet, a 19 was rolled. Failure, this is alchemist fire, Nirra comments after realizing that you don't know what it is. It's like a grenade, where thrown, the green liquid within bursts into a sticky fire that burns everyone it contacts. The liquid is dangerous to transport, but quite effective in a battle. Come to think of it, Nirra says, deep in thought. This is the stuff used against the power tower a season ago. Yes, I am sure of it. So, the rebels here were behind the attack on the tower? Eswin asks. That would explain a lot. I am not so sure, Kartha objects, examining one of the orbs herself. The people here are motivated for change, but they don't seem like terrorists or murderers to me. Janet, let's do a spirit check on your hero and see what you may sense. Needing a 11 or less from Janet, a 10 was rolled. Success. GM note, your quest log has been updated. Click the quests button for all the details. You agree with Kartha, the rebels here definitely want to overthrow Queen Delpana and bring change to Ghenland, but they don't want anyone to get killed in the process. Perhaps the alchemist fire was a product to be made and sold to financially support the resistance, not to be used directly as a weapon against unsuspecting townswomen. The laboratory explored, be very careful with the alchemist fire if you decide to take some. The only exit out of the chamber is the doorway back to the west. A quick search finds that the crates have 10 orbs of alchemist fire. Barthol nods and takes the 10 orbs of alchemist fire. The chests have been locked. A thief will need to pick the lock. You can try something from your inventory. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 31 on percentile dice. Success. Barthol has a 50% chance of picking the lock and rolls a 33 on percentile dice. Success. The chest is unlocked and now easy. Janet nods and takes everything from within the immediate area. A quick search finds that the simple boxes have 2 orbs of alchemist fire. Marioleth nods and takes the 2 orbs of alchemist fire. Travel alert, using the tunnel, you travel west, taking a few minutes to arrive. The room. Travel alert, using the unlocked door, you travel down, taking a few minutes to arrive. Climbing down a wooden ladder from the trapdoor above, you reach a short hallway, round a corner and enter another large chamber, dimly lit by a variety of soft magical lights. Given the dozen or so crude bunk beds and cots lining the wall here as well as some bedrolls on the ground, it looks like you've entered a barracks. As you turn the corner, you almost crash into the well-dressed officials who just escaped from you a short time ago, the half-dozen or so men and women fleeing from an open doorway to the south. "We surrender," the leader cries, terror in his voice. "Please, save us." Several of the officials point toward the southern doorway. There, 30 feet away, stand a dozen low-level male and female guards, fighting something on the other side of the doorway. You can't tell what, but you sense it's something large and monstrous. "You're adventurers." Another of the officials yelps, quite frightened. "Do something." "Go," Nirra orders. "I will stay behind and make sure they don't escape." GM note, Nirra has just left the adventuring party, dashing toward the southern entrance. You quickly join the rookie fighters, some of them bravely standing their ground but more of them essentially cowering in terror. Moments later, a giant claw reaches into the doorway from beyond and grabs one of the men, the soldier screaming in sudden pain and panic as the monstrosity quickly removes him and, likely, devours him. Whatever is attacking, it's massive and quite deadly. "We can help," Eswin calls out, looking about. "What's going on?" Recognizing a much more experienced group of heroes among them, the rookie soldiers withdraw back into the barracks, placing your party on the battlefront. Just beyond the doorway is another vast chasm, likely the same one you encountered when dealing with the bridge earlier in the quest. A small group of giant crabs and snails have slithered their way through the chasm and into the barracks here. You count at least 3 corpses lying amongst the monsters, victims who were either too slow or too drunk to escape the surprisingly quick creatures. "Where did those come from?" Redfern shouts, looking about. "Probably from the shoreline to the east," Ariana responds, readying her weapons. "Take them out," Eswin commands, leading your heroes into battle against the giant creatures. Your party is under attack. Coming at all of you are 5 giant crabs and 4 giant snails. It's Janet's turn. What do you want her to do? Janet casts Spiritual Hammer on Giant Crab number 5, bashing it for 5 points of damage for 5 minutes. Ariana readies her short bow and fires at Giant Crab number 5, needing an 18 to hit. Needing a 45 or less on percentile dice, a 49 is rolled. Sainadius casts Bless on the entire party. Potential Giant Snail number 3 closes in on Ariana to attack. It's Muriel Ev's turn. What do you want her to do? Marioleth casts Phantasmal Force on Giant Crab number 3, horrifying. Giant Crab number 4 closes in on Eswin to attack. Giant Snail number 4 closes in on Janet to attack. It's Kartha's turn. What? Kartha casts Spiritual Hammer on Giant Crab number 3, bashing it for 3. Giant Crab number 3 closes in on Sainadius to attack. It's Redfern's turn. Redfern casts Fireball on roughly half of all encountered combatants, blasting them in an explosion of flame. Giant Crab number 1 is burned for 23. It's Eswin's turn. What do you want him to do? GM note, a new combat round has begun. Initiative is rolled. Ariana readies her longsword +1 and swings at Giant. Redfern casts Phantasmal Force on Giant Crab number 3, nearly horrifying it. Needing a 16 or greater, Giant Crab. Barthol readies his short sword +1 and swings at Giant Snail number 2, needing a 16 to hit. Die. Kartha readies her mace +1 and swings at Giant Crab number 3, needing. Marioleth directs her Phantasmal Force at Giant Crab number 3. Kartha directs her Spiritual Hammer at Giant Snail number 2, bashing it for 4 points of damage. Well done. All combatants have been defeated, ending the battle. Each hero receives 368 experience points. Rendering the monstrosities unconscious, they fall back into the bottom of the chasm beyond, their carcasses causing several splashes in the distance. Are they dead? A timid voice comes from behind. Turning around, you find a small party of officials standing about 10 feet away, Nirra carefully guarding them. Indeed, she's already done her job. Each of the characters have their hands tied behind their backs and are no danger to you. Thank you, whoever you are, one of the women offers, seemingly grateful. It's what we do. Ariana boasts, her elvish grin helping to melt the ice here. Perhaps introductions are in order, the lead male human exclaims, stepping forward. I am Bailey Lochwin and I've been leading the men and women here since Lodi's disappeared. This is Havana Laurel, our expert in magic. Kermit Highgrass who manages our armory. Sharona Hastings who advises us on everything spiritual, and Dar Hagatha, our primary contact with our spies in EAA. Bailey looks to be an adept fighter and you're glad that he has fully surrendered. Havana is a female human magic user, Kermit looks to be a male halfling fighter, Sharona is a female human cleric and Dar looks to be a male halfling thief. Let's do an honor check on your hero to gauge your initial reaction with these leaders. Needing a 10 or less from Janet, a 18 was rolled. Failure. While your initial impression of these leaders is mostly neutral, they seem competent and perhaps even honorable, so hopefully this encounter will go well. You're the Emerald Crown I've heard about, Nirra continues, not happy with the officials. All of you will hang for what you've done. We knew what we were getting ourselves into, Havana responds, not apologetic in the least. Men should have the same rights as women here in Ghenland, just as women should have the same rights elsewhere. What's going on here in EAA is a travesty and needs to be corrected. And who are you to doubt Queen Delpanna and centuries of tradition? Nirra questions, the guard captain growing angrier by the moment. The genders are meant to work together, Sharona answers rather elegantly. This approach to letting only women immigrate to Ghenland and not allowing men to peacefully coexist here is not only nonsense, it's damaging our culture, our future, and our way of life. This horrific sexism must end. Men ruin everything they touch. Nirra argues, unwilling to compromise. We tried being more open to men in the past, but every time we began to trust them, they would break that trust, taking what didn't belong to them, demeaning female superiors, even trying to claim this beautiful country for themselves. In the end, Delpanna had no choice but to permanently ban them from Ghenland. Evil and selfishness isn't just a man thing, Havana responds, her voice relatively calm. Just as a woman can do anything a man can, some women are just as wicked and self-serving as the worst of men. Not here in Ghenland. Nirra retorts. Here, all of us are equal, all of us love and respect our fellow sisters, and all of us see how important it is to live and work together. We have a utopia here and we don't need any men to destroy that. I can respect your point of view, Kartha says to Nirra, surprising you. Perhaps we should just agree to disagree, nobody needs to die over this. Treason is a capital offense everywhere throughout Mariga, Nirra returns to Kartha. Plotting against Queen Delpanna and attempting to destroy our very way of life must be punished by death. You'll then just make martyrs out of them and further champion their cause, Kartha responds, shaking her head. You have to give the men here a chance to redeem their reputation and allow them back into your society. That will never happen. Nirra cries, her anger starting to be directed toward your party. I have never met an honest, honorable man, we will never allow them into our society again. That's enough. Eswin shouts, visibly angry. I take that comment personally. To everyone's surprise, Eswin dismisses the magic around himself, revealing the man he truly is. Redfern looks about, then follows suit, as does Sainairs a few moments later. Nirra's jaw nearly drops to the floor but the 5 captured leaders smile and even bow, demonstrating their support. Nicely done. Bailey says with a smile. Then you understand our cause here in Ghenland. How would you like to reply? Choose an option. Reason, sexism is wrong no matter what. Spirit, yes, And we want to help your cause, tolerance, yes, but we respect Nirra as well. Yes, we recognize that sexism is wrong no matter which gender you're referring to, Kartha replies, addressing everyone. But Queen Delpana still has the right to lead her country in the way she deems fit, we're not going to interfere with that. I can't condone what you've done, Nirra continues. But all of you have proven yourselves, maybe there are a few good men out there. Why the charade? We never meant to deceive or dishonor you or all the sisters here in Ghenland, Kartha continues. We're only here because an inner circle representative sent us to find her lost father. We think all of you have heard of him, an old wizard named Lodi's, Redfern offers. Lodi secretly assembled the Emerald Crown almost a year ago, Bailey replies. He had money, power, strength, and an odd fascination with Queen Delpana. He agreed to help us overthrow the government here in Ghenland, Osharana continues. But nobody was to be harmed, especially Delpana. In some strange way, we think he saw her as a victim, Havana adds. It was like he needed to rescue her, or something. But we haven't seen him now in over a season, ever since. Kermit comments, abruptly ending his sentence. Lodi secretly assembled the Emerald Crown almost a year ago, Bailey replies. He had money, power, strength, and an odd. The firebombing of the power tower, Nirra continues, recognizing where the conversation is going. Nearly a dozen were killed, including my predecessor. That wasn't us, the thief Dar replies. We heard what happened, but we didn't do it. Lodi's did it, Nirra continues, surprising everyone. We found him amidst all the destruction. His ring of fire resistance saved him from being burned to death along with the others. He claimed it was an accident, but Queen Delpana still had him cast into the disposal pit. He's dead now. A collective gasp is let out, everyone but Nirra sorry to hear of the fate of Lodi's. Lodi's would not have purposely hurt anyone, Osharana finally says with a low voice. There must be another explanation to what happened. It does not matter, Nirra counters, growing weary of the conversation. Now that all of you are in my custody, it's my duty to return you to EAA for judgment. The 5 rebel leaders look to you, hoping you can say something, anything, to help their situation. What would you like to say to Nirra? Choose an option. Charisma, what can we do to help? Intelligence, they won't get a fair trial. Wisdom, can we speak to Delpana? Nirra, I know we have our differences, Kartha continues with compassion, attempting to convince Nirra to let the rebels go. But if you take these leaders back to EAA, they won't receive a fair trial and they'll be executed. Can we try to talk to Queen Delpana ourselves? A bit surprisingly, Nirra seems to consider Kartha's plea. Let's do a party wisdom check and see where this goes. Needing a 13 or less from your heroes, a 15 was rolled. Failure, the rebel leaders are coming back with me no matter what, Nirra soon replies, her mind made up. I can try explaining the situation to Queen Delpana, but I doubt it will make any difference. So I think it's best that I take these rebels back myself, Nirra then adds, about to depart. Given the men in your party, it's best you be on your own. Let's go, rebels. Several of the leaders look to you, a combination of fear and acceptance. Nirra then orders them forward and quickly they march out through the northern entrance leading into the barracks, likely to never be seen again. That could have gone better, Ariana comments. Now what? We need to speak to Delpana ourselves, Kartha replies, urgency in her voice. We don't want to start a civil war, but we need to at least try to save the rebel leaders. But what if Nirra exposes us? Sainairs asks logically. She knows who we are now. We'll have to risk that, Kartha insists, convinced of the right thing to do. Maybe she will even put in a good word for us. Standing there, let's do a spirit check on your hero to determine what else you may be sensing. Needing a 11 or less from Janet, a 19 was rolled. Failure. GM note, your quest log has been updated. Click the quests button for all the details. While you know in your heart that Kartha is right, you don't see Queen Delpana being swayed by anything you say. Hence, the situation seems hopeless, but still, you need to try. Having found the rebels, let's end that quest and reward your party with some bonus experience. Each hero earns 1250 experience points. Kartha has gained a new energy level and receives 2 new hit points and 1 new spell. Click the spells button to assign the new spell. You're free to camp here within the barracks, rest, and recover for as long as you wish, as you will want to be at full strength before returning to EAA and Queen Delpana. GM alert, Bless is no longer affecting the party, your party rests and recovers for 8 hours. Janet casts Cure Light Wounds on Ariana, healing her for 6 hit points. Your party rests and recovers for 8 hours.